Nadia, Balgobin, together with Ignace Haaz. Karibu.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. It is a great opportunity for Globethics to be part of this event. Each event for us is unique, and we would like to share with you a bit more of who we are, though you've heard a lot of what has been said this morning. As you can see, at Globethics, we are focusing on value-driven leadership for life and sustainable development. We are very practical. I'm not a theory person at all. I'm very oriented about practice and making things work. That's why I engage myself a lot with Globethics because there's real dialogue, reflection, and action that things really happen. So who we are, I mean, probably some of you have not heard about Globethics before, but I'm sure if I tell you how many of you knows who won the Nobel Prize for Peace this year, I'm sure you have a bit of an idea of this NGO, who it was. I can. Actually, they are based in the same building where we are, in the World Economic Center in Geneva. So now you know that we are very close to people that are really trying to make things happen and changing the world. They are very small, 4 people. We at Globethics, we are some 12 people and a few teams around the world, but we are trying to make our impact. So this is where we are today. So we are an international foundations based in Geneva with a global network of interested people in ethics, individual and institutions. We have our multilingual website available for sharing knowledge, research, and where you can find best practices in a numerous field of applied ethics. There is a lot that you will find there. Go to this website and you will be enriched with a lot of information. Globethics, as we said, has had 14 years of history, if I may say, and we can see that it has been through step by step, slowly by slow, I mean, day by day, working and believing, and this is where we are today, and making greater impact. Why does ethics matter? Ethics is our compass for orientation, decision, and action based on values and virtues. So this is what is driving all our work on a daily basis. Our core values are what they are here, highlighted: responsibility, sharing, respect, inclusion, justice, integrity. As it was mentioned, we are present in a few countries, but we have a lot of national contacts, and this is what really helps us to create a big community worldwide. We do work with a number of partners institutions, government, IGOs, donors, NGOs, and higher education institutions. And some of them, as you all see here, are the German government, the Swiss government, the Global Fund, which is now will have their office next to Globethics, where we believe that we can even increase our collaboration with them. And we have, of course, some foundations that are really supporting us, like the Lindsay Foundation, and some very well-known NGOs like Bread for the World, Fast and Opfer, and PAD. What do we do? I mean, we focus on promoting responsible leadership. We empower people from all continents for ethical dialogue, reflection, and action. We help you to become the value-driven leaders of tomorrow. How do we do it? We take action, and one of the biggest initiatives that Globethics have launched is this Globethics Consortium, which addresses higher educational institutions. We try to build institutional capacity of HEI to drive ethics in higher education, to train teachers to become certified ethics professionals. When we identify and support joint educational projects, we support students projects and interaction with key innovative players in ethics and sustainability. This is what we'll be doing actually this week as part of this TOT, building capacity in ethics in higher education. What does this entail? I mean, we are here to work around through our TOTs to discuss issues around code of ethics, sustainability policies, and their implementation. We do work also on developing tools, because when we talk about capacity building of an institution, we have to have the right tools in hand. And one of them that we will be proposing is to adopt what we call a self-assessment tool for benchmarking, monitoring, and evaluation that could lead you to become an international recognized certification and to be aligned to what is the best practice today. We are also proposing, as far as making an ethics program effective, is to use what we call a secure integrity reporting line, which is compliant with international general rules on data protection. What I'm saying by this is that most of companies who have adopted ethics and compliance, they can only know what is happening on the ground if they do have an integrity reporting line in place, because otherwise they don't get the feedback, the information. And this is the trend towards which we are going in the future. We, of course, provide this opportunity as members of the consortium to participate in our consortium forum that we organize on an annual basis, as well as the Global Ethics Forum, which goes beyond and wider. Some exchanges of practices and so on, all those information you get also from our work that we will be working together to put in place with the team here. Support for teachers. We build capacity for teaching and research in normative and applied ethics in management and leadership. This is a topic that will be covered by my colleague Ignace this afternoon. We propose also online training leading to certified ethics professionals. We have our online library. We have forum on best practices, teaching, research, and publication. We also ensure that there is this network of North-South in relation to our focus on SDG 4. We identify and support a joint educational project, because this is where the sharing come and where the learning come and where you are in a better position to address your real issues in your own context. And this can be done also, can lead to joint publication and so on, and those are things that my colleague will cover with you also in terms of publication. For students, we have some content for them, some curated content, careers, opportunities in ethics-related professions through capstone projects, for instance. And they have access to quality learning environment, access to library, as it was mentioned before, and career and scholarship opportunities, because through our networking, a lot of opportunities come along. So we do share resources and experiences on online platform. This is just to give you a bit of what we have as innovative key players in ESG. I don't know whether you're familiar with the term ESG, which has been out there for nearly over 20 years now, what we call the environment, the social, and the governance. Why am I talking about this? Because those criteria are becoming key more and more in all areas, in all institutions. To give you an example, these are the key players that we've been interacting. Most of them are in Geneva. When we talk about Sustainable Finance Geneva, which is an organization that are bringing together all those who have money to invest, who are managing assets and equity, they are just asking themselves, where do they put their money? So they are using the ESG criteria to define whether they want to put their money in a specific business, in a specific country, in a specific project. So this is what Sustainable Finance Geneva does. In addition, we have, for instance, responsibility Globethics.com, they are also focusing on impact investing in developing countries. And they are even present, if I'm not wrong, in Kenya. Waterpreneurs, as you see how innovation is coming. We are talking here in the field of water, but they are using what they call innovative finance. So they are building around a whole network of investors to come together and to address the water sector and sanitation in countries. For your information, if you go on their website or you register to them, you will see that they are running an event here in Kenya around the 26th and 27th of April. ABS is another example of a bank, an alternative bank in Switzerland. What is the focus? The focus is not to maximize profits. They are focusing and identifying people who want to invest in ethics, in transparency, in environmental issues. So you see that the trend is changing. If I look at Swiss alternative medicine, it is a holistic approach to patient care. How do we work with all the health practitioners so that they can address the real need of each individual as a person and make the necessary decision of how to take care of this person? CORED, an NGO also sitting with us at the World Economic Ecumenical Center in Geneva. They are very focused on health issues in terms of ethics research, in terms of contracting, and they have two, three tools that they are proposing to Ministry of Health, and they are proposing also to universities. They have what they call their ethics research tool, and you would be very happy to know that one of the key experts here is from Kenya, Francis Kombe, who I'm in touch with here. So you see that things are happening. It is very important that you are able to identify who in your country are the innovative players, because you have to link up with them. You have to find out what they are doing, what they can propose, and how you can work out together. And other foundation brochure, they are focused in bioethics. In Geneva, they bring the 100 top scientific and researchers in the world, and they keep them for a year in a wonderful place by the lake, and they work around different issues related to bioethics. Design and Health is one of our also key partners in Sweden. They are very interested in rethinking the hospital environment, and they are proposing what they call the salutogenic hospital. How do we rethink, again, the patient at the heart of the hospital, and what needs to be put in place to make sure that we get the right service to them. And finally, ICON is a very new NGO who is breaking the world of cybersecurity and in artificial intelligence, and they want to do what we are doing, we at Globethics, in terms of ethics and values, how in their field of cybersecurity and artificial intelligence, they can work with us, they are interested in what we are doing, and to bring about education and collaboration with universities and so. So this is what Globethics in practice we can also provide, because through our contacts and people in the field, what we do is that we try to identify who are the best key players today. So what you will get as part of a member of the consortium is documentation, handbook, materials on governance, teaching and research on ethics and sustainability, full access to our, as we mentioned, newsletters, jobs, call for papers, and so on and so forth. And of course, our network with innovative experts specialized in ethics and sustainability. And of course, we are a small organization, but we have an impact, and we hold some over 180,000 participants worldwide who are registered to our website, who are willing and ready to work with us in this field. And finally, there are all the libraries, so I will leave Ignace to talk more about it. And we do promote also publication, that's part of Ignace's presentation. So if you got excited about Globethics, register now. Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen, professors, directors, heads of departments, all NGO experts from Kenya, we are very glad to be here today and to explain a little bit what Globethics does as library and publications. Globethics.net has a library of over 6 million documents that can be accessed through internet for free. This is a very valuable resource that can really be accessed from anywhere where you would have internet access. You can search this library using the Boolean search method that you know, so by AND, NOR, OR connectors, logical connectors, in order to find out in this library. For instance, here the example is ethic star, which would be ethics and all of the terms that are related, ethical, ethics, and distance learning. And you could find, for instance, results related to this search query that is very specific and that would focus on ethic and distance learning. So you would have in the library certainly a large number of these items, as I will show for the in the example of a collection on ethics in education. We have a library that is, as I said, open access mainly. We are in fact using a technology of harvester, harvesting open access materials from repositories, over 4,000 repositories over the world. So for instance, I was trying to check if we are harvesting theses from Catholic University of Eastern Africa and other Kenyan universities, and I found about 4,000 results of just document type thesis and Kenya or Kenyan. And so it shows that among these 6 million documents plus, you already have 4,000, theses only coming or around Kenya. So it is worth, I think, to sit down and to try this library. Where to find the library? We already have the link there, so you can already, as mentioned, you can go to Globethics.net, so www.globethics.net, and then you will find your way to the library. Otherwise, you have Globethics.net/library. I want also to emphasize very shortly that you will be in possession of the latest current research. So it's not about having a library where you open it and, you know, as I've been told in some of the African university libraries, sorry to say it, that you have a lot of books, but then, you know, the latest issue is 1985. No, here we have latest issues in the library, meaning March 2018. So this is very valuable because it has not a lot of effort of work to achieve this type of result. It is simply related to the automatization system of a harvester. So all these materials are coming automatically. Of course, we need to curate the material. We want material on ethics and theology. So we are not, for instance, harvesting any material that would be on any given empirical science only. For instance, natural science, medicine, clinical case studies. If they are not related to ethics, that they might well be in most cases, then they won't appear in the library. But if you have, for instance, the consent concept, you know, that is very important in bioethics, then your document that might be a case study in health ethics might appear in the library. Let me now mention the collections. What are collections? Collections are a specific set of documents that are not, you know, the 6 million, which is a kind of black box. You know, if you have a black box of 6 million documents, you don't find your way to the documents. If you have a collection, it is a limited set of material. Here we talk about 87,000 documents of all document types possible in this collection on ethics in higher education. So this has been, of course, the result of research done on a fair amount of time and quality work to develop such a collection. I can just invite you to go to this link and to discover this collection, which is composed of a classification tree. So we have over 200 entries by concepts and categories for ethics in education. So it is really a tool for teachers and students to understand what, for instance, good education and ethical education for the Greek world in the classical tradition would mean, for instance, or as opposed to the Roman and the Latin notion of good education, and as of, for instance, opposed to the modern understanding of good education and ethics in education. Not to relativize what ethics in education should mean, but to increase the knowledge of those who are wanting to, in fact, take the decisions as adults, as enlightened decision makers, and so knowing, in fact, about the subject in order to take the right decision. So we have, of course, not only the classical sources of ethics in education, but latest achievements and challenges that are related to ethics in education, such as distance learning, for instance. What does that mean, to regard to ethics, to our life, to open education? What is open education? Is it something that is promising? Is it something that might imply some risks? So all these things are part of this collection on ethics in education. Since I have a limited time, I will now go to the other set of collections that I wanted to propose to you, just in order to have a kind of overall introduction to the library and to ethics in education from the library point of view. Then I will pass to the publications presentation of what we do as publisher. We have also another collection which is, I think, very important. We mentioned that we have a limited set of tools in order to implement concretely in our life of academic researcher, decision maker, administrator, manager, postgrad students, to implement a reason-based behavior regarding good practices. One of these is codes of ethics. So the capacity that we have to reflect about applied ethical ways to behave in a rational way through a standard, a code, a deontological process has to be documented, because this is also a dynamical process. I mean, life from an empirical point of view is changing, and this train, we need to jump on it, and it is not, that we have a reserved place. It is always a challenge to be on board and to renew our understanding of what is the current challenges of our time. So, for instance, in professional areas, including education, code of ethics are very important deontological tools in order to find and to practice the right actions and the right rules. And so I would invite you to discover this collection of almost 6,000 documents on our site, and you will be able to discover over 300 professions and also economical, social sectors. And you will be able to enter, in fact, this collection and the documentations through this classification tree, also by geographical area. So you could, for instance, choose Africa and then find latest research done on code of ethics. Let me mention a third collection, which is a special collection as well, focusing on education. This is a collection on on journals. You know that peer review process is a key component of the quality of education and research. How to get an entry point to peer review is to have peer review journals. We have been working out as librarians to harvest some of the most meaningful journals related to ethics in education. You will find them there on the site of Globethics.net for free. For some of you, perhaps most, who have theological interest, this is a very valuable material. I don't need to explain what the University of Tübingen represents in Germany. It's like, you know, Geneva for the Reformed Church. It's the Rome of theological research in Germany. So this is the fifth possible resource that I would really strongly recommend in our library. Now, I want to present publications. Publications is Globethics Publications. This is a publishing house, an academic publishing house that is providing for free access to books online, and also providing the capacity for you to sell your books or to buy books in print copy from Amazon. What we want to deliver is a service for ethics teachers or researchers or theologians, or even the aspects focusing on education of these disciplines. And we have been working to fill a gap, a very important gap, that is what we call north-south divide, is that we are struggling in rich countries to get our work published when you are a postgrad or PhD student. And it is not at all easy. Most of us wait 10 years before having a chance to publish a paper. What about you here in Kenya, when internet access is sometimes a bit difficult, where publishers are also very demanding, commercial publishers, and where the gap is even larger between the stakeholders of this mechanism of publishing your research. So we wanted to propose a service that is to use the platform of Globethics.net, that is an online platform with a large community of academics, but also from people from other professional orientations, but with strong interest in ethics, in order to help you to network and promote your research. I give you an example. When I published my thesis, it was already more than 10 years ago. After 3 years, I have sold around 400 copies. And I was very happy. I received a letter from the publisher explaining that it was a great success. With GE Publications, you can publish your thesis, and after 3 months, you have 2,000 downloads. And some of our great successes are between 20 to 100,000 downloads. And this in less than 4 years. So this is not, you know, about dreaming and not realizing our dreams. It is about realizing our most crazy dreams. It's to be able to stand there with your ideas, with your original findings in your research, and to make them and share them and make them available to others. So we have different series. We have a series that is focusing on thesis series, and we have done more than 25 PhDs from Africa in this series. So we have a very strong collaboration with the Global South, and we want to increase this collaboration with Eastern Africa in particular. We, of course, are working in different languages. Only in 2017 we have published in 7 languages, which is quite amazing for a small group of equivalent full-time of 80% work. And so we have books in Chinese, we have books in Indonesian, We have books in many different languages, including from Francophone Africa, Anglophone Africa, and there is a gender parity among the authors who are among our authors. We have published 150 books, a bit more, and accidentally there is a parity between women and men, which I think is also very important and interesting. We want to keep that regulatory principle. We want to also work for equal consideration. So it's really not a commercial only, if you want. It's a publication possibility that wants to be a social enterprise. We are open to dialogue and to negotiate every contract that we do with an individual author, taking into consideration the author's situation, but also we need to explain and make transparent our, of course, situation and needs to run. So we have over 1,100,000 downloads in just publications. So this is a department that is focusing on the publishing house. This number was reached in September of this year, so 1,100,000 downloads. And we are moving to a new web platform, so we are increasing our technical capacities to really promote you as author. Thank you very much. I think, just exceeded in 10 minutes the time that I was allowed. So I've been told that 15 minutes in Africa is the usual liberty that we have in exceeding our presentation. So thank you very much.